Everyone.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good
Yeah,
morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
good morning. Let's begin
Good
with the
afternoon,
session.
ma'am.
Good afternoon. Mm, right. Good afternoon to one and all logged in here today to join us for our celebration. In the view of ongoing pandemic, the situations are restricting us to do the events in a conventional way. However, in our collective efforts to move ahead without compromising on our academics, co-curricular activities and annual events, we are constantly finding new ways to adapt. This event is one such attempt. At this moment, I would like to thank our director, Dr. Mamta Piraj, for encouraging us to overcome all hurdles and execute our plans. Today, due to some emergency, she is not able to join us for this event but has conveyed her best wishes to all of us. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our guests of honor, Professor R.S. Balaji sir and Professor Sridhar Morab sir for being here with us today. I would like to welcome our speaker for today, Professor Shiv Kumar Ganachari, who has made time to join us. I would like to welcome all the faculty and staff of BMS College of Architecture and a warm welcome to all our students as well. Today, we shall witness the inauguration of Annavarana 2020, a virtual exhibition of students' academic works, and felicitation of senior academicians associated with BMS College of Architecture. Post this, we have a webinar on National Education Policy by Professor Shivakumar Ganachari. I request everyone to keep your mic on mute, please, to avoid any disturbance. Now I hand over the virtual platform to the exhibition team to take us through the inauguration process.
Thank you, Maithili. I am Sona Alex, Associate Professor of BMS College of Architecture, and we have our exhibition team here. We have got a Saraswati, who is a symbol of knowledge, music, art, wisdom, and nature. I request Mrs. Namrata, Assistant Professor, for the invocation song to invoke God's blessings as we commence the event.
शृङ्गपुराधीश्वरी शारदे शृङ्गपुराधीश्वरी शारदे सर्वमङ्गले सर्वाभीष्टाप्रदे शृङ्गपुराधीश्वरी शारदे सर्वमङ्गले सर्वाभीष्टाप्रदे शृङ्गपुराधीश्वरी शारदे शारदे शङ्कर सन्नुत श्रीपद्मचरणे शङ्कर सन्नुत श्रीपद्मचरणे सकलकला विशारदे वरदे सालहेन्मुताये सामगान प्रिये सालहेन्मुताये सामगान प्रिये मुनिजन वन्दिते सौभाग्यदाते मुनिजन वन्दिते सौभाग्यदाते शृङ्गपुराधीश्वरी शारदे शारदे करुणसिंह श्रुतिगतिगलमाते कमनीय सख स्वरगलमाते करुणिसेन्न श्रुतिगतिगलमाते कमनीय सत स्वरगणमाते काव्यगान कला मातृस्वरूपिणी काव्यगान कला मातृस्वरूपिणी कामितदायिनी कल्याणि जननी कामितदायिनी कल्याणि जननी शृङ्गपुराधीश्वरी शारदे शारदे Thank you.
Slept early and she woke me up at 12. Then I went to close.
Thank you, Namrita, for a sweet, melodious, and a beautiful prayer song. May the divine power bless us all during these difficult times of the pandemic, and we hope and pray for your safety and that of your near and dear ones. Knowledge removes ignorance, just as light removes darkness. Another 2020 unveils the best academic students' work which was done during the pandemic and lockdown period, when all the classes were held online. Our students, who are our pride, did very good work even through these challenging times. I take this opportunity to thank our director madam for paving us the path to bring this virtual exhibition to reality. I thank all the faculty and students for supporting us with all the information required in putting up this exhibition. My sincere gratitude to the whole exhibition team of faculty members for working endlessly in making this virtual exhibition a grand success. We now unveil the virtual exhibition video. The virtual exhibition is now online on the BMSCA website. You have to press that enter button. Go there. Come forward.
Thank you, Tarun. So moving on to the next part of our program. As a part of gratitude towards our teachers, on behalf of all gathered here, I extend our heartfelt thanks to our very own special academicians for their immense contribution to the development of the institution in its growing years and for being a part of building its solid foundation. We would therefore like to take the opportunity to honor their dedication and felicitate them for all the support we've had and will continue to have for years to come. It is a great honor to introduce and welcome Professor R.S. Balaji. Professor Balaji was a member of the faculty at the BMS College of Engineering from 1964 to 1994. Before entering his bachelor's in civil engineering, he had successfully completed his BSc with distinction. After his undergraduation in civil engineering, he went on to complete his MSc in environmental engineering at the College of Engineering in Madras. He is an MIE, MISTE, and also has completed his AMIE in architecture. He is also a fellow of the Institution of Valuers. He served as a professor of civil engineering and head of department architecture during his long and illustrious tenure at BMSCE. He was instrumental in setting up the Department of Architecture in the year 1980 and went on to serve in this department till his voluntary retirement in 1994. As a faculty, right from 1964, he had the privilege of teaching civil engineering subjects to the students of other fields of engineering as well. He is filled with a sense of pride and achievement to note that a large number of students have gone on to occupy very senior positions in public sector domain and in the private sector as well. He was very actively involved in the all-around development of the institution and took keen interest in mentoring and counseling a large number of students and colleagues over the years. He encouraged a lot of his students and colleagues to pursue higher education, including PhD, so that they can serve the cause of education with a better perspective and a stronger sense of commitment. Apart from being a teacher of distinction, He was also a major part of the private practice of architecture, with his late father, Sri G. Sampath, a retired Deputy Chief Engineer, Mysore PWD. To their credit, they have successfully designed, executed and completed projects in Karnataka and in various parts of other parts of India, of the country. They have been an integral part in completing nearly 1200 projects, of which 900 are residential. I request Srimati Asha Balaji, daughter of Professor Balaji, to do the honors on behalf of BMS College of Architecture. I'll introduce to you all architect Sridhar Mora. He was born on 18th May 1959 in Hubli, Karnataka. Born in a family of artists, architect Sridhar is married to Srimati Veena, a trained classical Bharatanatyam dancer and dance teacher as well as a choreographer. They have two sons. The elder one, Chirag, is pursuing a career in computer gaming technology and working as a game designer and game programmer in Montreal, Canada. And the younger son, Akansh, has just completed his Masters in Architecture from the University of Southern Australia. After a good schooling record, architect Sridhar completed his bachelor's degree in architecture from University Vishveshwaraya College of Engineering, affiliated to the Bangalore University in the year 1981. He is an associate member of the Indian Institute of Architects and the Practicing Architects Association and a registered architect with the Council of Architecture and also the Bangalore Mahanagara Palike. After working for a couple of years under reputed architects of Bangalore, architect Sridhar worked in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as an architect for an Indian construction company for 2 years, where he worked on large housing projects for 2 international petrochemical companies. On his return, he set up his architectural practice under the firm name Reina Architects and Associates in the year 1986. Having completed more than 3 decades, the design firm under his leadership has handled numerous projects, more than 400 residential bungalows, 50 plus residential apartments, dozens of commercial buildings and quite a few commercial and residential interiors. However, his specialization has been in industrial projects, having completed more than 60 different industrial buildings of various sizes and shapes and costs in and around Bangalore. In the last decade, he has specialized in the construction of pre-engineered buildings and has also been a technical consultant to many construction companies. He has been continuously involved in academics as a visiting faculty at our college, BMS College of Architecture, for the past 20 years. He is also a member of various organizations like Roundtable India, 41 clubs in India, Harmony, Snehaloka, and the Rotary Club of Vijayanagar. I request Mrs. Mora to do the honors on behalf of BMS College of Architecture. So now, moving on to the final part of today's event, understanding the NEP, that's the National Education Policy 2020. To facilitate this, we have with us Professor Shiv Kumar U. Ganachari. Professor is working at the Soundarya Institute of Management and Science. He's an associate professor of English here. He has a rich experience in teaching the language and actively involved in research on ELT. He has published a good number of poems, research articles in peer-reviewed national and international journals. Motherland, Let My Country Awake in Conception, Eastland, Prayer for My Sister, My Mother, Plague, Journey, My Soul, etc. are a few of his pieces. He is a member of the Society of Classical Poets, New York. He has completed a UGC-sponsored project titled ELT, Options and Challenges at Undergraduate Level in Rural North Karnataka. He has published more than 30 creative writings in various magazines, newspapers, and edited books. The author is actively involved in research. He also writes poems under the pen name of Shivagita. He has also published 2 books entitled Anthology on Inner Reflections Part 1 and 2 with Notion Publications. He is also a consultant on NAC and education development. He is a soft skills trainer and also is an IQAC coordinator. Shiv Kumar sir, requesting you to take it from him.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, esteemed distinguished dignitaries, learned people, revered Mamta madam. It's a very outset. I greet all of you on the occasion of Engineers Day. Indeed, whenever I like to share the few views on education, constantly reminds the sayings of Dr. Radhakrishnan. I quote, India needs great scientists, engineers, philosophers, writers, doctors, but the system of education should not forget to make them human beings. Since independence, India has 3 national education policy. 1, 1968, 1986, subsequently 1992, 2019 and 20. See, after 34 years, we have succeeded to coming out with a new policy on education. Thank God, further it takes 20 years to implement the observations of new national education policy. See, there are some observations. For that, I need to someone help to show the slides. Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir, you are audible.
Says slides. Hello?
We can hear you, sir.
2 seconds. Sir, present?
Presentation slides, sir.
Just 2 minutes. So 1 second, sir.
Please, sir.
So check it now, sir.
To intervene from my part. See, I begin with one of the quotes of Alvin Toffler.
See, others please mute, sir. Others, everyone should be mute. Hello.
ಕಷ್ಟ ನಿಜನೂ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ನನ್ಗೂ ನಿನ್ಗೂ ಇಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible. You can go ahead.
Yes. See, I quote one of the sayings of Alvin Toffler, which is very relevant in the present circumstances. I quote, "The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn." See, national education policy also focuses in a similar direction. What it speaks on certain issues. What are the issues? Cognitive skill is one of the basic aspects, then followed by critical thinking, then subsequently it also encourages for research bent of mind. See, certain observations that you can find out here of the overall national education policy. The glimpses that I am going to see here, glimpse of Indian higher education, concerns Indian higher education, sustainable development goal. Why I focus sustainable development goal? It was implemented in 2015. They would like to reach by 2030. The education is one of the concepts that sustainable development has focused. The next overview of National Education Policy 2019-20 and the timeline of National Education Policy, National Research Foundation, interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. See, as of now in India, 993 universities are there, 39,000 colleges, 3.7 crore students, 14 lakh teachers, 26.3% of the gross enrollment ratio, and 9,190 standalone colleges are there. See, why standalone I have mentioned here. According to the policy, I mean National Education Policy, by 2035, standalone colleges should start a multidisciplinary centers. Otherwise, the condition of the standalone colleges will be a big question mark. As a result of that, the 26.3% of the gross enrollment ratio, National Education Policy has targeted by 2035, this 26% should be reached to 50%, the gross enrollment ratio. See, this is one of the huge challenges that we can come across while reaching this target. I overview all three national education policies since independence. The first new education policy came in 1968. What it focused? Stressed the technology, significance of technology in education, holistic education, importance of quality and research, teachers education, education for all, 6% GDP. See, 2020 new education policy has also focused that 6% of its GDP should be invested in education. The same is repeated what we had witnessed in 1968. It also stressed innovation, creativity, and 3-language formula in 1968 observations of the National Education Policy. In 1986 and 92, what again it focused? Quality education, research it has highlighted, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, significance of internship, collaboration of academia and industry holds key, innovation, creativity, academic planning, occasional education, and three-language formula followed by autonomy. This 1918 education policy also gave importance that if you want to see a comprehensive picture or comprehensive development in Indian education system, the 6% of GDP should be invested. But unfortunately, so far India hasn't crossed more than 4% of its GDP in education. And 2019 and 20, one significance observations can be noticed: online education, open distance learning, research, quality education, stressed on three-language formula, autonomy, and 6% of its GDP. See, the very reason and intention behind throwing a light on all the three national education policy, that common observations can be noticed: quality, research, three-language formula, and autonomy are highlighted. But what it indicates, with the certain challenges, certain hiccups and here and there, still India could not able to reach. And I do believe that most of all aware that since independence, the national education policy, various committees were formed, suggested and recommended. Still, all the recommendations and suggestions haven't been noticed and implemented due to some of the challenges. See, what really national education policy expressed its concern in 2019. The first, it has focused on fragmented ecosystem. We all know that by and large, the learning environment in most of the higher education is not encouraging one. Maybe for different reasons. What national education policy has highlighted, nowadays in India, the higher educations are nothing but, it's like a degree awarding shops. That shows the quality and deteriorating, the learning process in higher education. It also stressed on less emphasis on cognitive skills. We all know that. See, the cognitive skill is one of the basic qualities to ensure quality learning process. Unfortunately, the cognitive skills rarely noticed in terms of learning and teaching process. And outcome-based learning, very marginally we have noticed and haven't been noticed in encouraging statistics. The pushing students narrow areas of study, very depth is not there. Rote learning, the mug-up process of the examination and repetition, and marks identified as a brilliant students. See, unfortunately, that kind of the narrow area of a teaching learning process has really put into the backyards of Indian education system. See, the next point, it has focused on lack of research. We all know that. See, if you see the comprehensive observations of the TSR Subramanian Committee in 2015, based on that, national education policy has drafted. What it focused, very, very less percentage of research is there in India, particularly, according to the data in 1994 to the till 2004, India has only applied not more than 4,000 patents. That shows the research is not that much of a encouraged in India in what we were expecting earlier and what we are expecting now also. And university and colleges have turned into a degree shops. This quote or this statement is not mine. This is highlighted in the observations of national education policy. And the last one, which is so important for success of everything, that is lack of academic leadership. The academic leadership holds very, very important for the betterment of both organizations, students, and teachers. The next point, observations concern that policy expressed: affiliating universities to mediocre undergraduate output. We all know according to the traditional courses, general course that I speak, Every year, not less than 18 to 19 lakh students are coming out of the graduations, but unfortunately, less than 8% of students have employability skills. The output of the undergraduate, the thing is not that much of a, well acknowledged. The next one, lack of encouragement for meritocracy. See, meritocracy is a very, very important. Unfortunately, in India, meritocracy has been sidelined. See, unless we encourage for meritocracy and commitment in terms of teaching profession, no matter how many policies, how many committees will come, the conditions will remain as so. The limited teachers and institutional autonomy. Autonomy is a very, very important factor. See here, by 2031, this committee has targeted there will be only 2 structures of colleges. One, awarding degree institutions, then constituent colleges. See, and also they have stressed, if the number of less than 3,000 students in the institution, that will, become a cluster institutions by joining some other neighboring colleges. See, inadequate mechanism for merit-based career. We are not focusing about, the passionate merit-related qualities, and as a result of that, the education is not in the right direction. The last one is so also important, ineffective regulatory system. See, the monitoring system, the regulatory system is not that much of a effective one. See, what sustainable development, the reason behind focusing the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goal, 2030, it's its target. What are all observations of the SDG? No poverty, I think this should be the first one. Zero hunger, quality education, gender equality, good health, clean water and sanitization, industry innovation infrastructure, responsible consumption and production, decent work and economic growth, partnership to achieve goals, reduce inequality, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, strong institutions, affordable clean energy, sustainable cities and communities. These are all observations and targets that the Sustainable Development Goal by 2030. That is the reason why the National Education Policy also focuses these observations in its draft. See what exactly the 2019-20 policy focuses. Programs in all Indian languages. Earlier, what was the language? Only English, Hindi or some other mother tongue. But even at the graduate level, the policy also endorsed, suggested for Indian languages, local languages or the state languages. The second one, multidisciplinary undergraduate education, faculty and institutional autonomy. As I said short while ago, by 2032, only there will be 2 structure of colleges. One, constituent college, then followed by degree awarding college. See, which will be the constituent colleges? If the college doesn't meet out the benchmark, particularly in accreditation process, and obviously that will be become a constituent college. This is first structure. Second, if a college has less than 3,000 students, that will become a cluster institutions. It will join the neighboring institution which has more in number. Second, professional education did not place in the isolation of one's specialty. As I said, standalone, focusing only on one specialization of a course in its institution, it doesn't encourage, it encourages for multidisciplinary, the specializations. If institution doesn't focus on multidisciplinary, the specializations, such institutions will be in little bit tricky situation. Then technical university and standalone, as I said short while ago, institution shall aim to become a multidisciplinary. It's a compulsion. It will become a mandatory by 2032 onwards. Reaffirming the integrity of faculty. And the last one, that it has expressed its apprehensions particularly on teachers' education. The quality of teachers' education has been deteriorating ever than before. Sorry. National Research Foundation, that's what it focuses on, quality research output, encouraging for funding, encouraging for publications in national peer reviewed and international journals, and distance learning also considered as a degree. That is the very significant one you can notice. See, two things are very main in national education policy: holistic education, multidisciplinary education. See, earlier we used to say holistic educations. See, unfortunately, what is happening in Indian education system, diagnose will be something, prescription will be something. Diagnose and prescriptions are not matching as of now. When something we diagnose, something we prescribe, see, when both, they move in a wrong direction, the whole structure will be under chaos. And the last one interesting is there in observations, that is 4-year degree course. Earlier what happens, if a student in the first year or second year, if he or she takes a dropout, in the next academic year, he or she used to take a first year admission. But now is not in the case of national education policy. After 1 year of a graduation, if a student leaves, then he will be awarded as a diploma certificate. And in addition to that, the academic, the banking credit has started. See, that will be continued. Even after a couple of years later, the student can join for second year without, any hiccups. National research is focused, experience learning it has focused, sorry, academic banking of credit, as I said, the dropout will have a lot of user support here. And another important factor is sports also given equal importance in academics. Earlier we used to call sports people, physical director education as a non-teaching staff. Now in new education policy, they have also become the part of a teaching fraternity. It means they have also a curriculum structure. They will also have a, in terms of a sports things. Therefore, that is the reason why sports also has taken equal importance. Independent boards, after the national education policy, UGC will be in place of UGC, National Higher Education Commission will come. See, that is the another change you could notice here. The commission also focused about policy, light but tight. It looks flexible, but a lot of the stringent focus will be there in terms of monitoring. And in order to stand equal to the global level, competent level, say they are planning to start the multidisciplinary education and research universities. 100 such kind of universities will be noticed. Those are all par with IITs, IIM, and so on. And second, to execute all these things, first, the policy also focuses on institutional development plan. See, this holds very key in order to develop sustenance in terms of teaching learning process. Top 100 universities will be identified, and those universities will be encouraged to establish it in the foreign soil. It means, you all know that for the last, the 5 to 10 years, no Indian universities stood within 100 ranking for different reasons. And in order to give the quality and competency at the global level, they are planning to encourage identified 100 top universities, and those universities will be encouraged to establish in foreign soil. See, National Higher Education Regulatory Council, which is very common regulatory body now after 2021, except medical and legal stream, Indian Council for Agriculture Research, Veterinary Council of India, National Council for Teacher Education, Council of Architecture, National Council for Vocational Education and Training act as a professional standard setting bodies. These are all will also play a very significant role in order to set professional standard setting bodies. See, these are all four are the pillars in the entire national education policy. One, national higher education's regulatory commissions, which duty is to regulate. Then National Accreditations Council, which focuses on accreditation structure. National Education Grant Commission, which focuses on funding. Then General Education Council, academic standard it will set. And above all, the autonomous body, Higher Education Council of India. These are all four pillars, and this will be the autonomous body which will monitor and take care of entire system. See, what is the timeline of 2020? You might ask a question. See, we are in 2020, within the next 20 years down the line, where the world will be. And to implement the policy, we need 20 years, how the steady progress is there. 2025, it focuses on 50% exposure to the vocational education. Now the vocational education is very, very less than 10% is there. 2030, it focuses professional general education cluster integrated manner. Then 2031, two structures of colleges, one degree award college, then constituent colleges. 2030, integrated teachers education. What earlier is the College of Education, B.Ed is there for 2 years. Now, henceforth, there will be not 2 years B.Ed courses, that will be considered as an integrated from 2030 onwards, 4 years education. 2030, in each district, multidisciplinary education institutions will be established, and by 2035, the gross enrollment should reach to 50%, and the national education policy, it takes 2040 to implement in 100%. See, what all we normally feel here, the very base of the 4 years degree course you could see, 1 year, the diploma, second year, advanced degree, advanced diploma, third year is a degree, again the fourth year they have kept option, fourth year will be the rigorous research structure. Students who complete the 4-year degree course, and he will get only 1 year to complete the post-graduation. It's a global standard they are planning to set, and these are all the observations where you can focus in the higher education, that's new education policy. See, this is one of the reasons why the new education policy, the very strong and transformative initiations is there, and the time has to respond. Then how the public, all stakeholders will respond to this approach. I think all of you might be aware that now this policy is again in the public domain. So far, the Ministry of Education has received 15 lakhs of feedback from the stakeholders. See, to complete this draft, the committee was received 2.5 lakhs of observations, but thank God, there are a lot of awareness among public, the primary stakeholders and secondary stakeholders. See, totally, the 15 lakhs it has received so far from the public domain. That means a lot of still long way to go in terms of focusing this new national education policy. See, I sincerely appeal to all the learned people. If you have any questions on the new education policy, so that I will be able to share few more things. See, that is what I always believe in one of the sayings. Our moral responsibility is not to stop future, but to shape it, to channel our destiny in humane directions, and to ease the trauma of transition. If we focus this philosophy, I think we'd be able to give justice to the students. That is one of the basic qualities of education. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions by the audience?
Yes, any questions?
Okay. So maybe right now no questions are coming across, but if there are any questions that come in later, we shall definitely get in touch with you and share the questions for us to be answered.
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for giving us an overview of what the NEP entails, and especially showing us a difference between what it was and what are the salient features that have been revised in this. So definitely thank you very much for your time and patience to be with us today. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the invitees, Professor Balaji, Professor Morab sir, and Professor Ganachari for your presence. I would also like to thank Srimati Asha Balaji and office members of Morab sir who helped us through the smooth conduction of the felicitation process. Uh, Thank you to the exhibition team of BMS College of Architecture for their hard work on putting this Now Arena together on a virtual platform for everybody to see the works of our students. Um, I would also like to thank Chief Librarian Shiv Kumar sir and physical education instructor Girish C for helping us with the National Education Policy webinar and other things with respect to this entire event. Also, thanks to Santosh, our technical assistant, who has been helping us to manage the technical things with this platform. And thank you to Purnima madam for helping us with all the emails related stuff. Um, Thanks to Chetan and Ravi and Venkatesh and Bhagwan who helped again in the felicitation process by reaching to the residents and office of both the felicitation recipients for today. And Krishna Prasad sir for always being there as a support. I thank all my colleagues who were very supportive for smooth conduction of this event, and definitely the audience for being a part today. Last but not the least, our director who has always stood tall as strong support for our college and activities and this institution. Yeah, with this, I would like to end this session, and thank you once again to everyone. Thank you.